Hey screen printers, we're here at the sales ball pen around it. This is actually where we have all our Blackmax printers set up. So right here we have the Epson 1430. It's the newest Blackmax, smaller format, 13-inch wide printer. Before it was the Epson 1400, which is an awesome printer, a workhorse in the industry. And allows screen printers to get into printing high-quality film positive, extremely black with that Blackmax ink, doing halftones for right around $1,000. I mean, you can't beat it, and it's a great way to get into the market. So what we wanted to do today is really introduce the Epson 4900 and the 7700, the two newer printers on the market. The Epson 1430 is a great entry-level printer, very low price point for a printer. You know, the package, once again, the Epson 1400, the Epson 1100, the Epson 1430, all those 13-inch wide printers. The package sold for about $1,000 on average, roughly, you know. It came with 5 or 6 of these cartridges. They're 18mm Blackmax cartridges, and with the accurate software, it loaded the whole printer up with black ink, which allowed it to print, you know, not waste any color ink, but allowed it to print very, very dark film positives, and obviously the accurate also controlled awesome halftones. Now, the thing about these cartridges is they're small, and because it's a small format printer, a few $100s to invest in an Epson printer, and then obviously the software and the ink and the film, you know, equated to the package price. But the printer itself is an entry-level Epson printer using small desktop cartridges. The advantage to these printers, this also worked on a sheet, sheet format, so you couldn't use rolls. So the advantage to these printers right here is they work on rolls. So you can actually print longer images, wider images. This is a 17-inch wide printer, this is a 24-inch wide printer, and the roll, when it prints, it obviously slits the paper. So with an Epson 1430, you have to use a whole 13 by 19 sheet of film. Well, what if you only have a 11 by 11 image? Well, then you're not using that whole film effectively. With a roll, if you're only printing 11 inches, it will cut it right after that image is printed. So on average with film, you're probably saving around 30% film usage, which if you're using a roll of film or if you're using a pack of film a month, equates to about $500 a year in film savings. So these printers, even though the printers are a much bigger investment, you know, the Epson 4900 by itself with no, special ink or anything is about a $2,500 printer. I think the Epson 7700 is about a $4,000 printer. So the printer itself, as you can see, is much bigger, much heavier duty. So film savings, because you're buying that film in a roll format, is huge. The big savings there in these printers, however, is the ink. It's phenomenal. We just did some calculations here. So this is what the 4900 comes with. And a lot of people look at the 4900 package and say, wow, it's so expensive. You know, I'm just going to buy a small printer. Well, once again, that small printer is great for when you're starting, but as you're expanding into shop, doing more and more films, this guy pays itself off. In fact, it saves you 70% on ink. This is 220 milliliters of ink right here, and this has 11 cartridges of ink in it, so it lasts for a very long time. This is only 18 milliliters. Buying ink in this format, this saves you 70% in your overall ink consumption. Huge savings. In fact, by the time you would use all the ink that came in this printer, you would have to buy 22.5 sets of these cartridges. That would cost you roughly about $3,400. So essentially, this printer will pay itself off within the first ink set that you use out of the printer versus buying 22.5 sets of these Epson 1430 cartridges. Same thing over here on the 7700. This uses 5 cartridges. The cartridges are actually over 300 milliliters of ink, so a lot of ink in this printer too, and it gives you a little bit wider format. So if you're a shop that's needing to go into a larger format of printing, using rolls, whether it's larger size images, whether you want to save money because you're just using so many sheets and going through Blackmax cartridges like crazy, jumping up to an Epson 4900, Epson 7700 is a very smart investment. Remember, this printer will pay itself off within the first time you use a set of it. It will completely pay itself off. So it's an awesome investment. We have these upgrade packages available now. You can check them out on the film output page of our website, silkscreenandsupplies.com, or give us a call if you want to learn more about the printers. So, roll format, cuts the film, buying ink in bulk, saves a lot of money. Check it out if you want to take your shop to the next level, save money, and be able to print bigger stuff at the same time. Thanks a lot for watching.